Hello, good morning, good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Emer from Montenegro in Milan. Today we are talking about crime. We are discussing crime, reasons for crime, different types of crime. So, should be interesting. Say hi in the chat. Say hi in the chat. How are you? My name's Emer. Say hi in the chat. Where are you from? What's your name? Yeah. So should be fun. Crime. All right. So crime in this focus activity, talking about crime, the justice system, crime and punishment vocabulary. So there's just a small delay between you pressing send and me seeing it. So just let you know that. Maybe a minute, depending on how fast the internet connections are on each end. My name, I'm from Dublin in Ireland. I've been in Milan 3 months. Anna, hi Anna, how are you? Oh, where are you from, Anna? Great. Yeah, so say hi in the chat, anyone else? Anna, where are you from? I'm in Milan at the moment. I teach in Montenegro in Milan. So, yeah, let me know where you're from. I live near Milan, but I'm from Puglia. Oh, beautiful, Puglia. I had a really nice bottle of white wine from Puglia on the weekend. It was really beautiful. Great, wonderful. All right. So in this focus activity, talking about crime, the justice system, and crime and punishment vocabulary. So is there a lot of crime in your city or in your country? Is crime on the rise globally? Are there more reports of crime in the news? Are we becoming an increasingly violent society? So we can answer these questions together, the discussion maybe. So, Anna, we both live in Milan. I have only lived in Milan for 3 months, so I don't know a lot. And 2 of those months were in quarantine. So, well, maybe a month and a half. So, is there a lot of crime in your city? In Milan or in Puglia, whichever one you prefer, or just in your country, so in Italy in general, is there a lot of crime? I can say in Dublin, in Ireland, where I'm from, there is crime, but I don't think there's a lot of crime compared to other cities. But there is crime, but it depends on the area of the city that you're in. So, what about Milan or just Italy in general? Is there a lot of crime? It also depends on the type of crime, I think. Is it a lot of um, aggressive crime, like people being shot and killed or stabbed or whatever, or is it um, opportunist crime, which is people robbing phones, pickpocketing. Opportunist crime. So opportunist crime is non-violent crimes. It's usually because people just, it's usually stealing. Um, so people see a bag unattended and they just take it. Nobody is physically injured. Um, they just lose money or possessions or something. So this kind of crime is usually more common, or not more common. It's usually common in like big tourist cities, like Milan or Paris or London, Barcelona. So it's not violent, but it's still a crime. So what's the crime like in Italy? Is crime on the rise globally? Do you think crime is on the rise globally? I don't think crime is on the rise globally. I think crime has changed a lot. There is now a lot of new types of crime online and to do with like technology. So people's banking information being stolen online, or lots of scams online. But crime is reported more now than it was in the past. So I think it's hard to judge, but I don't think so. Although there are a lot more people on the earth now than there were 100 years ago. So I guess, in theory, crime has risen. What do you think, Anna? Anyone else watching? What do you think? Are there more reports of crime in the news? So I think there are more reports of crime because nowadays we have 24-hour news channels and newspapers are releasing new stories constantly, like every hour. So yes, I think there are a lot more reports of crime in the news. Newspapers, what's the word? Newspapers exaggerate the amount of crime that there is, and they kind of fuel the fire. So they fuel the fire, meaning they make the trouble. Let's see. Anna, I agree with you. There are more reports of crime. Okay. And what about the crime in Italy? News, social media. Yeah, social media. I forgot about that. That's true. And what do you think about crime in Milan or just in Italy in general? Is there a lot of crime in Italy or in Milan? Puglia maybe? So I just have the definition, a little phrase, fuel the fire, meaning to make a problem worse by exaggerating certain aspects of it. Anna, it depends on what city we're talking about. Okay. How about in Milan? Whichever city you feel you know more about, Milan or Puglia or another city, maybe Rome. Yeah. Okay. And the last question: are we becoming an increasingly violent society? Are we becoming an increasingly violent society? Um, I'm not sure. I think it depends on the country, um, because in Europe for like thousands of years, they were there were lots of wars and people fighting and people being um, killed for crimes or having limbs, hands, legs chopped off for different crimes, which we don't do anymore. Um, but depends. I think that uh, in Milan, there are less violent crimes than Naples, for example. Oh, okay, okay, yeah, yeah. I feel like Milan is quite safe, and more financial crime and opportunist crime. Oh yeah, see, yeah, because there are so many different types of crime. Financial crime, yeah. Um, we call we say white collar crime. I don't know if you've heard that before. White collar crime is crimes committed committed by white collar workers, like people who work in. So we say white collar, meaning like it's clean work, um, like working in a bank or a lawyer, something like that. They wear like a suit for their job. So white collar crime is crimes committed by professional workers like bankers, in what are they called? Like people who work on Wall Street in New York, investment bankers, I think they're called. Like that kind of stuff. Politicians. Politician. Okay. Lovely. More financial crime and opportunistic crime. And Anna, do you think are we becoming an increasingly violent society? Are we becoming an increasingly violent society? Okay, no problem, Anna. No problem at all. When you have your answers, send them in. If I have moved on, I'll go back. That's fine. Take your time. Okay, I'll move on while you're typing. Just read the next slide. So, citizens be warned. Which word is used in the text 3 different ways as various parts of speech? So, police are searching for a homicide suspect in Lancaster tonight. Residents are warned to stay in their homes and contact the authorities if they spot anyone suspicious. The convict is suspected of killing the driver of a car which he stole to use as a getaway vehicle for a robbery. He was released on parole just last week. So, we must find which word in text is used in 3 different ways as various parts of speech. So, it is one word which is used in different ways, in 3 different ways. Excuse me. Okay, so the word is suspect. So we have police are searching for a homicide suspect in Lancaster tonight. So suspect is a noun, first noun. If residents are warned to stay in their homes and contact the authorities if they spot anyone suspicious. Suspicious is the adjective. And the convict is suspected of killing the driver, which is the verb, past simple, suspected. So we have 3 different ways from different parts of speech. So suspect, noun, suspicious, adjective, and suspected is the verb, past simple. Well done, Anna. Yes, suspect, suspicious, very good, well done. Okay, crime. Put the events in order. He shot and killed the driver. He was read his rights. A witness heard the shots and called the authorities. He stole the vehicle. The convict was released on parole. He accosted the driver of a vehicle. The suspect was arrested and put in handcuffs, and he claimed innocence. He robbed a bank. So put these events in order. So starting with number 1, the convict was released on parole. I'll give you number 2 as well, just help. And then he robbed a bank. So put them in order. Give you a minute, then I'll do them. It's just a quick little exercise. Okay. Ooh, a witness heard the shots and called the authorities. Good, but I think we have at least one before that. So let's see. Okay. Number 3. He accosted the driver of a vehicle. Okay. He shot and killed the driver. He stole the vehicle. And then a witness heard the shots and called the authorities. Next, he was read his rights. Suspect. Okay, let's see. Okay, 7. The suspect was arrested and put in handcuffs. He was read his rights. Yep. And then he claimed innocence. Okay, so just a story to get things going. No, you're okay, Anna. It could have happened in that order as well. It's not like concrete correct, so it's okay. All right, crime. Match the words to the definitions. Suspect, convict, guilty, innocent, parole, authorities, blameless, police, having committed a crime, having served a prison sentence, a person thought to be guilty, and conditional release from prison. So we have our words here on the left and definitions on the right. So give you a minute to match. You can just write 1A, 2B, whatever the number and the letter in the chat to make it faster for you. Okay. All right, let's see the first one. Suspect. Suspect is a person thought to be guilty. A person thought to be guilty. Number 2, convict. Convict. I think convict having served a prison sentence. Yes. Convict having served a prison sentence. Guilty is having committed a crime. So someone who has committed a crime is guilty. Innocent is blameless. Innocent is blameless. Parole. Parole is you do them all at the same time. Let's see. 1, E, yeah, to D, good. To C, 4A, 5, 5F. Perfect, very good. And 6B. Well done. Very good, Anna, well done. Okay, great. Wonderful. Also, if you have any questions, pop them in the chat. Let me know, of course. Parole is when someone is released from prison. They're usually released on parole. So the parole is when you have to go to the police station or go see your social worker every, I don't know, every like week or month or something like that, for maybe 6 months, a year, 2, 3 years after you've been released from prison. I know they use parole a lot in America, or you can be released. Oh, that's bail. Yeah. So I'm not sure about Ireland, to be honest, because they don't. I don't know. Yeah. I've never been arrested, and I don't know anyone who has, so I don't know much about it. Anyways, here are the definitions. If you want to watch a police drama, an American police drama, this is all the vocab you need. So that's where I know it all from. So the justice system. Fill in the gaps with the correct form of these words. So our vocab is judge, bail, evidence, arrest, convict, jury, attorney, counsel, charge, interrogate, release, defendant, prosecution. So after a suspect has been and by the police, the district or city can choose to the suspect with the crime if there is enough. The suspect can hire, or if he can't afford one, a public defender will be assigned to represent him. The accused in a criminal proceeding is called and the accuser is called the. At the first hearing, the suspect can be on if there's low flight risk. When the case is tried, the will determine if the defendant is innocent or guilty. If he is, the will determine the sentence. Sorry. So, fill in the gaps. If you have any questions, pop it in the chat. Okay, I'll give you a minute to do it. Also, you may need to change some of these words to fit into the correct tense, but it should be fine. Okay. What's bail? Bail is bail is when someone is arrested, um, but they have a low flight risk. So the risk of them um, like running away to hide or um, flying to another country or something, if it is low, then the judge will decide to let them go on bail. So they must pay, like, it depends on how wealthy a person is, but they may have to pay maybe $1,000 um, to keep them to keep them. It's sort of like a contract. So they pay €1,000 to say that they will uh, to say that they will come back to their court date. So you are released on bail. Okay, try Anna. Arrest, interrogate. Being arrested, interrogated by the police. Okay, all right. After suspect has been arrested and interrogated by the police, let me see. Oh, this is there. So see. The judge. Oh, okay. The district or city attorney. So attorney is another word for lawyer. So city attorney can choose to charge the suspect with the crime if there is enough evidence. So to charge them with a crime is to decide that they want to open an investigation into this person and basically say, you are guilty, we think you are guilty, so we charge you with the crime. The suspect can hire counsel. So counsel is another word for lawyer. So we have attorney, counsel, lawyer. It's all the same thing. Sometimes they have different words. So attorney, yeah, they're all just words for lawyer. But the government lawyer, so the lawyer who works for the government, is usually called an attorney. So the district attorney, they shorten the word to the DA, district attorney. You'll hear that a lot in American crime dramas or films. Okay, let's see. And then the suspect can hire counsel, or if he can't afford one, a public defender will be assigned to represent him. So a public defender is a public lawyer, so paid for by the state. The accused in a criminal proceeding is called the defendant, and the accuser is called the prosecution. At the first hearing, the suspect can be released on bail if there's a low flight risk. When the case is tried, the jury will determine if the defendant is innocent or guilty. If he is convicted, the judge will determine the sentence. So the sentence is how long you will spend in jail or your punishment. So maybe community service, which is doing small doing jobs to help the community instead of going to jail. For drugs, people might be sentenced to attend a rehab center or program, or something like that. Sorry, excuse me. Okay. Any questions? All right. So, sorry. So, the justice system. How is the justice system in your country different from the process previously described? Do suspects have the right to remain silent if they so choose? Does a jury or a judge determine the verdict? And what aspects of your justice system do you think are unique? So I think the Irish justice system is very similar to the American justice system. I don't think there are any differences. Do you know any differences? Are there any differences in Italy from the Americans? Okay. What's the meaning of when the case is tried? That means when the court proceeding happens. So when the trial happens. When the case is tried is when the trial happens. So, did you notice any differences between the story we read, which is American, between the American justice system and the Italian justice system? So in Ireland, suspects do have the right to remain silent. I think, I'm pretty sure. And a judge determines the verdict. What aspects of your justice system do you think are unique? Don't think the Irish system is really unique. It's quite similar to the British system and all the other countries in Europe, so I think we're all quite similar. So, are there any differences for Italy? Let me know in the chat. Okay. So, the justice system. The police received some disturbance calls. They arrived at 52 Danner Street, where Teresa claimed that her husband had come home drunk and began beating her. She had grabbed a knife to protect herself, but he continued and she ended up stabbing him fatally. The living room was a mess and there was broken glass everywhere. Teresa did not have any serious visible injuries except for red marks on her arms and disheveled clothes and hair. Her alcoholic husband had a history of domestic violence and the police had been called there before. He also had a $2 million life insurance policy and 3 different properties under his name. So, what do you think of this story? Do you think she is guilty of murder, or do you think it's self-defense? She says there are a lot of differences between American justice between the American justice system and the Italian. Okay, what are some of the differences? Let me know. Um, what are some of the differences? One rule we have in Ireland, which is unique, I guess, is that every Irish citizen has the right to have their rights read to them in Irish, because Irish is the native language of Ireland. Um, it's more symbolic, but some people do speak it as their first language. So that is a unique rule in the Irish justice system. But what are some of the differences between, or even just one difference between? Oh, in Italy there isn't a jury. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Interesting. So it's just the judge. Is that right? Wow. Okay. Interesting. No jury. Okay. I think there are there are lots of crimes in Ireland that are tried without a jury, but for big crimes like murder, rape, um, it depends on which court. And there are three different judges. Ah, okay, okay. So three judges, but no jury. Okay, that's interesting. Three level of courts. Ah, okay. Yeah, interesting. Three levels of courts. Yeah, in Ireland we have um yeah, different levels of courts as well. I don't know what they are. I think we have Supreme Court. Then there's lots of there's the small court, which has like small crimes, like fines. I don't know, debt, things like that. Okay, quite interesting. Okay, so can you read this paragraph? Any words you don't understand, let me know. And think, do you think she is guilty? Do you think she is guilty of killing her husband? Do you think she is guilty of murder, or was it self-defense? I think it was self-defense. Yeah, me too, definitely. Um, uh, Okay. But he had a $2 million insurance policy and 3 properties under his name. So this is interesting. A little suspicious, I think, because he had a $2 million life insurance policy. So when he dies, she would receive $2 million. So that's a lot. Do you know what a disturbance is? So disturbance calls. So he was a violent man. Yeah. No, definitely. I agree with you. Okay, let's see these before we finish off. So here we have some vocabulary. Okay, we have some vocabulary. So you are the prosecutor based on what you know on the following criminal codes. Decide if you'll charge Teresa and with which crime. So some vocab. Homicide is an unlawful killing of a person by another. First-degree murder, premeditated with express malicious intent. So, first-degree murder, premeditated, means that you planned to murder this person, and with express malicious intent. So, express malicious intent is that just means like it's very clear that you wanted to kill this person. And maybe you did it gruesomely, like slowly, or in a very crazy, a very violent way. So malicious intent. Second-degree murder is with implied malicious intent. So it may not have been planned perfectly, but you wanted to kill that person. It wasn't an accident. You wanted to kill them. Voluntary manslaughter is with loss of control and legally justifiable provocation. So voluntary manslaughter means you didn't mean to kill them in the moment, but you lost control of maybe your emotions, you lost control. And legally justifiable provocation. So provocation means you were provoked, meaning that maybe you were fighting, maybe someone had like slept with your wife, or hurt someone you know in some way. Involuntary manslaughter, unintentional without any wrongful act. So this is something like someone in a car crash. Maybe they were driving drunk and they crashed their car and another person died. So this was an accident. So it was an accident. They didn't mean to kill someone. Unintentional, they didn't mean to, and without any wrongful act. So it was an accident. And then no charge, justifiable self-defense. So they're not charged with murder, it's self-defense. So there is some vocabulary for you. I'll finish now, but thank you, Anna, for your help. Thank you for talking with me in the chat, and have a nice day. Okay, thank you. Bye.